Everyday Dialogues in English.
Preface. As suggested by the title, this is a book of dialogues covering everyday situations, such as buying a suit, eating in a restaurant, going to the theater, attending a baseball game, etc. The vocabulary is that of everyday speech. The expressions and idiomatic constructions are those heard on all sides today, wherever American English is spoken. The purpose of the book is to acquaint those learning English with the vocabulary and particular forms of address used in these various situations. For example, how does one order a meal in a restaurant? What is the procedure to be followed conversationally in buying tickets for the theater or in attending a movie? What are the common expressions to be used in making a telephone call? These are some of the things the book teaches, and naturally, they are of importance to anyone learning English. The book should be useful to all students who wish to perfect their English along colloquial and idiomatic lines. It should also be valuable to the many persons of foreign birth living in the United States who feel the need for additional vocabulary and further practice with idiomatic forms. The book can also serve as a travel guide for those visiting the United States as tourists. Since most of the situations met in the course of one's everyday experiences are covered in the book, the visitor can find the necessary vocabulary and expressions with which to make himself understood by the railroad clerk, the waiter in the restaurant, the bus or taxi driver, the shoe salesman, etc. Finally, the book is also designed as an advanced conversation text. Since the dialogue form is used throughout, conversational forms are naturally stressed. In addition, adequate drill and study exercises accompany each of the dialogues. Questions follow each dialogue and provide a basis for further conversation between student and teacher. The teacher should naturally expand upon these questions and ask additional questions of a similar sort. She should also modify the form of the questions in order to make them apply more closely to her particular group of students. For example, if the question is, "On what corner did Mr. Smith get on the bus?" she should say to the next student, "Mary, where do you get on the bus every morning? Do you prefer the bus to the streetcar?" To another student, she might say, "John, is the bus usually crowded or empty when you get on every morning? Where do you get off the bus?" In this way, a great deal of normal conversation revolving around the essential vocabulary of the particular dialogue can easily result. Vocabulary and idiom drills follow the series of questions that accompany each dialogue. For a grammar supplement to this book, if one is needed, the author's Graded Exercises in English is recommended. For further study of idioms and idiomatic constructions, the student may also find helpful the author's Essential Idioms in English and Handbook of American Idioms and Idiomatic Usage.
Mrs. Green calls at the bank.
"I'd like you to cash this check for $50 for me, please."
Have you an account with us?
"Yes, my husband and I have a checking account." I also want to deposit these other checks in our account at the same time.
I see. Have you made out a deposit slip?
I hope that I have made it out correctly.
It seems to me all right. How do you want this other check cashed, Mrs. Green? Will 5 tens be all right?
That will be fine. I also want to ask you about starting a savings account. My husband and I have been thinking of opening a small savings account in which we could perhaps put aside a few dollars each week.
The procedure is very simple. You can open a savings account at any time with an initial deposit of $5 or more. $5 is the minimum original deposit. After that, you deposit or withdraw money as you wish. You bring your bank book with you each time, and the deposit or withdrawal is entered in your book. The amount carries interest of 2.5%, and the interest is added to your account every 6 months. That's about all there is to it. If you'd like to open an account, you can talk with the manager or with one of his assistants. They will be glad to take care of you.
Thank you, but I don't believe we are quite ready just yet. However, I do want to speak with someone about another matter. I received a notice a few days ago from the bank saying that our checking account was overdrawn. With whom should I speak about that?
You can talk with the manager if you like. There he is, seated at that desk over near the window. He seems to be free at the moment.
How do you do? I am Mrs. Green. About a month ago, my husband and I opened a checking account here. And a few days ago, I received a notice from the bank saying that our account was overdrawn.
Just a minute, Mrs. Green. I'll get the record of your account. Yes, your account was overdrawn $4 on the 23rd of the month.
But you didn't return the check to me.
No, the overdraft was only $4, so the bank honored the check. In such cases, we simply send the client a notice and assume that he will reimburse the bank for the amount paid. Of course, if the amount is very large, the bank will return the check and refuse to pay it. Apparently, you took care of that matter because your record shows that on the 25th a deposit was made which easily covered the shortage.
Then there is nothing further I have to do about it. Is that correct?
You will find a charge of $2 on your next monthly statement, which you will have to pay. That is a standard charge made by all banks in the case of an overdraft. But otherwise, everything has been taken care of. We just hope that in the future you won't overdraw your account.
I really can't understand it. I kept a very careful record of my checks, and the total was much less than we deposited.
But perhaps your husband also wrote some checks.
It's possible. I didn't say anything to him about the account being overdrawn because I was afraid he might be angry.
It is a joint account, Mrs. Green, and carries 2 signatures. That means that either you or your husband can write checks against it.
I don't suppose it's possible to have a joint account where my husband would just deposit money and I would write the check.
I'm afraid not.
It might be a very good idea. You should think about it. Anyway, I'm dreadfully sorry to have bothered you. It was very stupid of me.
It was no bother at all. We are always glad to help you. Why don't you take one of our little booklets along with you? They describe the various services which the bank offers. We have a personal loan department, a savings department, and we sell traveler's checks. Perhaps someday you or your husband may wish to make a personal loan.
I'm afraid that's my husband's department. He takes care of getting the money. I just spend it. Anyway, my husband says that a bank is a place where they lend you money only when you can prove that you don't need it. Is that correct?
Not quite, but tell your husband that we shall be glad to do business with him whenever he has need of our services.
Thanks. I'll do that. Goodbye.
Lesson 2. John at the post office.
I need some airmail stamps. Do you have those small packages which contain about 20 or 25 airmail stamps?
We have packages of 36 airmail stamps.
May I have one, please? How much are they?
$1.85.
Are these stamps also good for airmail going out of the country?
These are domestic airmail stamps, but you can use them for letters going anywhere in the world. If you are sending a letter out of the country, you simply add more stamps.
Do you happen to know the airmail rate to Venezuela?
I can easily look it up. Airmail to Venezuela is 10 cents a half ounce.
How long does it take a letter to get there by airmail?
It shouldn't take more than 2 or 3 days at most. If the letter is going to some small town in the interior of the country, it may take a little longer.
How long does regular mail take?
Regular mail to Venezuela will take anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks. It goes by boat and the sailings are irregular. Sometimes there are also other delays caused by weather conditions, etc.
I also want some 2-cent stamps. Give me 100. I'm going to use them this year in sending my Christmas cards. I understand that if I don't seal the envelope, I can use 2 cents instead of 3-cent stamps.
You simply turn the flap of the envelope inside instead of sealing it. Then it goes as second-class mail and costs only 2 cents. Many people now send their Christmas cards that way.
I also need a couple of special delivery stamps. How much are they?
15 cents each. Anything else?
I want to register this letter, but I believe I have to go to another window.
Go to the third window on your left, marked Registry.
I want to send this letter by registered mail.
Do you want a return receipt?
What is a return receipt?
When the addressee receives the letter, he signs a receipt which the post office department returns to you by mail. It is your proof, in case you ever need it, that the letter was delivered.
I don't think it is necessary in this case. The letter simply contains a certified check, which I didn't want to get lost. Is there a charge for a return receipt?
It costs 5 cents extra, but if you don't need it, why spend an additional 5 cents?
I want to send these 2 packages parcel post.
One of these packages is sealed with Scotch tape. We can't accept packages sealed with Scotch tape.
What's the objection to using Scotch tape? The package is very well sealed.
It is a regulation of the post office. They won't allow us to accept any partial post packages sealed with Scotch tape. Maybe it's because they're so easy to open. Anyone can rip off the Scotch tape and then the package is open.
But anyone can also open a package tied with cord if he really wants to do so.
I'm sorry, my friend, but those are the regulations. Incidentally, you forgot to put a return address on this other package.
I'm sorry. I'll put it on right now.
Do you want this package insured? What does it contain?
Nothing but books. Insure it, please, for $25.
That will be 50 cents. Here's your receipt, and here are your stamps.
Do I stick the stamps on myself?
No, it's much better if you stick them on the package.
A joker, eh?
Lesson 3. Mary's mother sends her to the grocery store.
Well, Mary, what can I do for you today? How is your mother feeling?
She's well, thanks. She wants to know whether you can send an order over to our house right away.
Certainly. What does she want?
She wants a dozen eggs, brown eggs, and be sure that there are no bad eggs among them. If there are any bad ones, she'll send them right back. She also wants a loaf of sliced bread, a pound of the best butter, and 2 quarts of milk.
A pound of the best butter and 2 quarts of milk.
Have you any sweet potatoes? She wants about 2 pounds of sweet potatoes if they're nice, but if they're soft and no good, like the last one she brought here, she doesn't want any.
2 pounds of sweet potatoes.
She also wants 5 pounds of the regular potatoes, a large can of tomatoes, a can of green peas, and a can of yellow corn, the same brand she always gets. She says you know what brand it is.
I know the brand. What else?
How are the oranges today? Are they firm and ripe? If they are really good, she wants a dozen to use for juice. She also wants some lemons. How do you sell the lemons?
Lemons are 3 for 10 cents.
Then send us 3 lemons. Be sure to pick out unspoiled ones. She also wants a box of Pillsbury's cake flour, a box of shredded coconut, and 2 pounds of confectioner's sugar.
It looks as though somebody's going to bake a cake at your house today.
We're having company tonight. My mother's going to bake a cake. I don't know how to cook, and I'm not interested in learning either.
Don't you want to learn to be a housewife? In a few years you'll get married, and then you'll have to cook and bake and do all such things for your husband.
Maybe I'm not going to get married. I prefer to go to work and have a career instead. Any smart young woman can earn her own living today.
But if she's even smarter, she'll get married and let her husband earn it for her.
Maybe you're right. Anyway, I'm still only 17, so I have plenty of time to think about it. Let's see. My mother also wants a half pint of whipping cream, a pound of coffee, and a large box of Lipton's tea bags.
What kind of coffee? I know the brand she buys, but I forget whether she gets drip coffee or the other.
We make coffee in a percolator at home.
Then you need the coarser grind.
She also wants a bottle of vinegar, a bottle of Heinz ketchup, a couple of pounds of small white onions, and I believe that's all.
You're sure you don't need anything else? Salt, pepper, spices, spaghetti, macaroni, frozen fruits, frozen vegetables?
Don't forget to send everything over to her right away. There's one more thing. My mother wants to know whether you can cash this check for $25.
I'm sorry, Mary, but tell your mother that we've had to stop cashing checks for customers. We've had some very bad experiences. I wouldn't cash a check now for my own brother.
You know your own family best, but I was just hoping you might save me a trip down to the bank.
Lesson 4. Jane and Helen go to the theater.
I do hope, Helen, we're not late. It's already 2:30.
What time does the curtain go up?
At 2:30 exactly, according to the newspaper. But of course, they seldom start on time.
Here we are at the theater now. Fortunately, there isn't a long line at the box office. You'd better get the tickets, since the reservation is in your name.
I have tickets reserved for today's matinee.
Your name, please?
Miss Jane Jones. They are 2 balcony seats. How much are they, please?
$1.65 each.
I understand that the seats are in the next to the last row. I don't suppose you have anything better now. Have there been any last-minute cancellations?
We have nothing at all left for today's matinee. We have been sold out for several weeks in advance.
That's what they told me when I made the reservations. I suppose I was lucky to get these. You know, Helen, I'm not particularly fond of light comedy. I hope we won't be disappointed.
They say it isn't too good. It's just the fact that a Hollywood movie star has the principal role that has made it so popular. Hurry. The curtain is just going up. In some theaters, they won't show you to your seats if you arrive after the curtain goes up.
Our seats are in row M, numbers 22 and 24. I think they are near the center aisle.
Well, Jane, how do you like it?
So far, it's not bad. The leading lady seems a little stiff, but I don't know whether she doesn't know how to act or whether, just because she's a movie star, she feels that she doesn't have to extend herself.
What did you think of the love scene between her and the leading man?
They both acted as if they were bored to death with each other.
You know why, don't you? They're married in real life.
I didn't know that.
It's been in all the newspaper gossip columns.
How did you like the stage setting in that scene? The program states that the settings were designed by one of the actual members of the cast.
I think the settings for the musical comedy, which we saw last week, were much better. There were constant changes of scene, and the variety was interesting. I don't like to sit and look at the same stage scenery, one act after the other.
In the show last week, they used a revolving stage. Musical comedy naturally has more variety, but I think one gets tired of musical comedy too. Personally, I always prefer a good play, comedy or tragedy, to any type of review.
Say, these seats are certainly terrible, aren't they? We're so far away from the stage that the actors look almost like dwarfs. I can only catch about half of what they say.
You know what Shakespeare's Juliet said to Romeo in their famous balcony scene, don't you?
No. What?
You should have got Orchestra Street.
Lesson 5. Mrs. Brown buys fruit and vegetables.
What can I do for you today, Mrs. Brown?
I'd like a dozen nice oranges to use in a fruit salad.
Do you want Florida or California oranges?
Which do you think are better, Tony?
Florida oranges are juicier, but some people like navel oranges for a fruit salad. They have no seeds and are easier to peel and cut.
Then pick me out a dozen navel oranges. Incidentally, the oranges you sold me last week were so green that I've still got half of them home in the refrigerator.
If you keep them in your refrigerator, they'll never get ripe. Leave them out where it's warmer and they'll soon ripen.
I also want some bananas. How do you sell them?
They're 10 cents a pound. How many do you want?
Give me about half a dozen. I also want 3 or 4 ripe pears and a half dozen good eating apples. I suppose I should also buy some cooking apples. It's been a long time since I baked my husband a good apple pie, and he's crazy about apple pie. Have you any good cooking apples?
These western apples are good for baking pies.
They look green. How do you sell them?
15 cents a pound. They're plenty ripe. They have a lot of juice and are a good baking apple.
I also want some vegetables.
Was there nothing else in the fruit line? We have some nice tangerines just from Florida, grapefruit, melons, peaches, plums.
No, nothing, thank you. Now, as to vegetables, give me a half peck of potatoes. Pick out small ones, please. The large ones are sometimes a little pithy inside at this time of year.
We don't sell potatoes by the peck anymore. We sell them by the pound. How many pounds do you want? About 4 or 5 pounds?
All right. But can you send these things to me? I don't think I'll be able to carry so much.
Don't worry about that. The boy can deliver everything to your apartment within an hour.
Then I may as well order a few more things while I'm at it. How is your cabbage today, Tony? Pick me out a good solid head, not too small and not too large. I could also use a couple of cucumbers if they're nice. Are they solid? May I see them?
Here are the cucumbers. Help yourself. Pick out what you want, Mrs. Brown.
How are the tomatoes? I'd like about half a dozen, but be sure they're ripe and have no spoiled spots in them. The last ones you sold me were not good at all. I had to throw half of them away.
I'm sorry. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put in 1 or 2 extra ones today and not charge you.
Thank you, Tony. I believe that's about all.
How about some fresh asparagus? We just got a new shipment in this morning. Do you need any carrots, onions?
No, we eat very little asparagus at our house, and my husband is allergic to carrots. At least he thinks he is. He says he itches all over after he eats them. Do you think that's possible? Onions I never buy. I can't stand their odor.
But onions are good for you, Mrs. Brown. They make you strong. We have onions or garlic at our house almost every meal.
I am very much aware of that fact, Tony.
Onions are like apples. You know the old saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away?
Yes, and an onion a day will keep everyone away.
Visits New York City and has to ask his way around.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm trying to find my way to Columbia University. Can you direct me? This is my first time in New York City.
Let's see. Columbia University. That's in the Bronx, isn't it?
I haven't the faintest idea. The only thing I know is that someone told me it was uptown.
Yeah, that's right. It's in the Bronx. Well, you take the subway here. There's a station on the next corner. You have to walk downstairs and take the uptown train.
Do I just take any train that comes along?
No, you'd better take an express. Otherwise, you'll be all day getting there. But I don't know which train you ought to take. I'm not too well acquainted with this West Side subway. You see, I live on the East Side, and I always use the Lexington Avenue subway.
I understand.
In fact, I'm almost a stranger in New York myself. I've only been here about 6 months. Maybe you really ought to ask someone else. I don't want to direct you wrong, but I'm pretty sure Columbia University is in the Bronx.
Thank you very much, sir. I beg your pardon, sir, but could you tell me how to get to Columbia University?
Sorry, friend. I'm from out of town myself.
Thank you. I beg your pardon. I'm trying to get to Columbia University. Can you tell me what subway or what bus I should take to get there?
Columbia University. Let's see. That's uptown somewhere near Broadway, about 180th Street, or maybe around 205 Street. How
do I get there?
Wait a minute. I'll find out. Columbia University is at 116th Street and Broadway. I knew it was somewhere up around that section. I've got a cousin who goes to school there.
Should I take the subway?
You can take the subway. You can also take the Broadway bus. But no, this bus only goes to 42nd Street and then turns up 7th Avenue. You could also walk over to 5th Avenue and take a 5th Avenue bus. Still, there are so many different buses on 5th Avenue, you might get on the wrong one. Maybe you'd better take the subway after all.
What train do I take? I asked for a train for the Bronx. Is that correct?
The Bronx? The Bronx is way over on the east side. You're going uptown on the west side. You'd better take an uptown train. But be careful. Some of those trains turn off at 96th Street and go over towards Harlem. You'd better ask the fellow in the change booth exactly what train to take. Just tell him you want to go to Columbia University.
Thank you very much.
Where are you from?
Havana, Cuba.
That's where they do the rumba, eh? It's one of those South American countries, isn't it?
Yes, more or less. Excuse me, madam. I want to go to Columbia University. Am I on the right train?
You're on the right train. I'm going right that way myself. I live at 125th Street. You just watch me and get off one station before I do.
Lesson 7. Mr. Reese talks to the ticket agent at the railroad station.
I want a ticket to Springfield.
Which Springfield? There are various Springfields. There's a Springfield, Massachusetts, Springfield, Ohio, Springfield, Illinois.
Which one is cheaper?
I suppose Springfield, Massachusetts is the cheapest. It's the closest to here, anyway.
Fortunately, it's also the Springfield I want to go to. What is the fare, please?
The fare to Springfield, Massachusetts is $6.80 one way, $11.50 return.
When does the next train leave?
There is a train at 4:10. There's also another at 7:20 this evening.
There are both good trains. I suppose, though, trains, that is.
The 4:10 is an express and makes only one stop in New Haven. It arrives in Springfield at 9:30. The second is a local and takes about an hour and a half longer.
Is there a dining car on both trains?
There's a diner on the 4:10. The 7:20 has just a club car. They serve sandwiches and coffee, drinks, etc.
May I have a timetable, please? I also want to find out what trains I can get out of Springfield tomorrow for Maine. I am going to do considerable traveling during the next few weeks. By the way, what is the cost of a Pullman seat to Springfield?
There is no Pullman on the 7:20, just day coaches. The 4:10 has a Pullman. but I doubt whether there are any seats available on today's train, unless you have a reservation. Were you planning to leave today?
Not necessarily. I haven't quite made up my mind whether to leave today or tomorrow. It just occurred to me, however, that it was rather a long trip and it might be more comfortable riding in the Pullman.
There isn't a thing available for today. There may be some last-minute cancellations. You can always inquire again just before train time. A Pullman seat to Springfield will cost you $3.20 in addition to the regular fare.
I'd like to ask you something about traveling by sleeper, if I'm not bothering you too much. Is there a sleeper I can take leaving here at night and going direct to Bangor, Maine? In that case, I could stop off at Springfield on my way back. It would be slightly more convenient for me. The fact is that I don't know much about traveling by sleeper. I've never been in one in all my life.
There's a sleeper you can take to Bangor, Maine, which leaves here at 1:20 in the morning. Of course, you can board the train any time after 11 o'clock at night and go to bed. You just show your ticket to the Pullman porter, and he takes you to your berth. You get into Bangor at about 11 o'clock the next morning.
I suppose it's necessary to make a reservation beforehand.
It's customary to make a reservation at least a day in advance. Sometimes, over holidays or busy seasons, even a week in advance is safer. The fare to Bangor, Maine, including your berth, runs about $20.
I understand that there are two types of berths, upper berth and lower berth. Is there much difference in cost?
Well, as they say, the lower berths are higher and the uppers are lower. Actually, a lower berth to Bangor, Maine, will cost you about $2 more than an upper berth.
Is there any other difference?
Well, in the morning, if you are in a lower berth, you get up, and if you are in an upper berth, you get down. That's one of my little jokes.
I suppose the lower berths are more comfortable. That's why they cost more, isn't it?
Some people claim they prefer an upper berth. They say they sleep better because there's less noise and less disturbance from people passing up and down the aisle. It's a matter of taste and pocketbook.
One more thing. I have a trunk which I may want to take with me. What arrangements do I have to make about that?
You simply take the trunk to the baggage room. There you show your ticket, and they check the trunk through to wherever you are going. If you bring it early enough, there's a good chance it will go through on the same train that you take. In that case, you can have it as soon as you get there.
Thank you very much. You've been very helpful.
Don't mention it. That's what we're here for.
Lesson 8. Mr. Smith takes his car to the gas station.
Fill it up, please.
High test or regular, Mr. Smith?
Give me the regular gasoline. Why should I pay 3 cents a gallon extra for high-test gasoline when I really don't notice any difference?
They say the high test has a little more power and causes less carbon.
I've tried both kinds many times. And as to power, the regular gasoline seems to be just as good as the high test. It's possible the high test leaves less carbon, but I turn my car in every year or two anyway, so I'm never bothered by any carbon.
Shall I check the oil?
I think the oil is all right, but maybe you'd better check it anyway.
It's just a little below the full mark. It will take about a quart.
That's all right. Don't put any in. I'm coming in next week to have you grease the car, and you can change the oil at the same time.
The radiator's all right.
You might look at the water in the battery. It's been some time since we checked it.
The battery is full. How about the tires? Do they need air? I may as well check them. How much air do you carry in your tires?
I can never remember. I'll have to look it up. 26 pounds in the front tires and 24 pounds in the rear.
I'll clean the windshield for you now, and you'll be all set. That will be $3.10, Mr. Smith.
You didn't check the air in the spare tire, did you? That's the tire you fixed for me about 2 weeks ago, remember? It had a puncture in it, a slow leak. I want to be sure it's all right. I'm going to take a trip down south next week, and I want to be sure all my tires are in good shape.
Let me have the trunk key. I'll check it. It seems to be all right. Where are you going down south, Mr. Smith?
My wife and I are going to Florida for a month. Do you know anything about the roads? What's the best route to follow?
They say the roads are excellent all the way down. That is, if you stick to the principal highways. They're all concrete or macadam, and in good condition. You may strike 1 or 2 bad spots, but nothing to speak of.
What's the best route to take?
Most people are taking Route 301. They say it's about 75 miles shorter, and you make better time because it cuts out most of the large towns. Other drivers still prefer Route 1. They say it may be a little longer, but that the roads are better. I can give you one of our maps.
Don't bother now. I'll come in again next week just before I leave, and you can mark out both routes for me.
Certainly, Mr. Smith. I'll be glad to. By the way, did you see the wreck down the road this morning?
I saw a car lying more or less in the ditch there.
A fellow skidded off the highway late last night during that rainstorm. He was doing about 60 miles an hour and apparently couldn't make the curve.
Was he hurt badly?
They took him to the hospital, but they seem to think he'll be all right. The car's pretty well smashed up.
Did the car turn over?
No, he hit a tree, which probably saved him. We sent a tow car down there this morning to pull the car out, but it's wrapped around that tree so tight that they couldn't budge it. We're waiting now for a blowtorch to arrive to get it loose.
What a shame. The number of serious accidents these days is certainly alarming.
The trouble is that every day the accidents increase. The new cars have so much speed and power that they just rip through anything they hit. Drivers don't seem to worry about it either. They say that a motorist today is a man who, after seeing a serious wreck, drives carefully for a few blocks.
Lovely lady takes a taxi.
Taxi? Taxi? Will you help me with my bags, please?
Certainly.
I also have a trunk. Can I take it along with me? It's over there on the baggage platform.
There is a charge for all trunks. It will cost you $1.25, but you can take it with you. I'll strap it on the trunk rack in the rear.
I suppose it will be perfectly safe there.
Where are you going?
I want to go to 435 Riverside Drive. And driver, please drive very carefully. I'm a very nervous woman.
Don't worry.
This is the first time I have ever been in a taxicab in New York City. Incidentally, What is the fare to 435 Riverside Drive?
It will cost you around $1.50.
You're quite sure it won't be any more?
It may cost you 10 or 15 cents more. I can't tell exactly. But whatever it is, it will show on the meter.
What is the meter?
The meter is this metal box to my right. Whenever we start out with a passenger, we put the flag up, and that starts the meter functioning. The meter registers the distance and shows the exact amount of the fare.
You must excuse my ignorance, but this is also the first time I've been in New York City. We don't have taxis like this at home where I come from.
Where do you come from?
I come from a small town in Illinois that I'm sure you've never heard of. We only have one taxi cab in the whole town.
Instead of being a one-horse town, I guess that's what you might call a one-cab town.
The fare is 50 cents, and you can go anywhere you want within a radius of 3 miles. What are the taxi rates in New York?
The rate here is 20 cents for the first quarter of a mile and 10 cents for each additional quarter of a mile. The rates went up a short time ago.
Is it true that taxi drivers often take advantage of strangers in New York City? Instead of taking a direct route, they sometimes drive all around the town and then charge the passenger an enormous fare?
No, that's not true. Any cab driver would lose his license if he got caught doing a thing like that.
Heavens, please be careful. You almost hit the other car.
Did you see him cut in right in front of me? What was I supposed to do?
And must you drive so fast? I'm sure you must be going at least 40 miles an hour.
When the lights are with me, I naturally have to take advantage of them. I can't hold up all the traffic.
I'm sure that I could never drive a car in New York City. Doesn't it make you nervous to drive every day in so much traffic?
No, madam.
Do you have many accidents?
No, madam.
I do hope we don't have an accident on the way.
Listen, lady. I don't want an accident any more than you do. I just got out of the hospital a week ago, and I have no desire to go back.
You were in the hospital? You poor man. What was the matter? I suppose you were in a serious accident.
No, I was a mental case.
Good gracious.
Lesson 10. Mr. Hicks takes Mrs. Hicks to a baseball game.
Let's hurry. The game has already started. You took so long to dress that I might have known we'd be late and miss part of the game.
I haven't held you up any. Why did you take so long to park the car?
Our seats are in the grandstand. It's that gate over there. We have to go up those steps.
I hope we don't have to sit in the sun. You know that the sun isn't good for my complexion.
There's no sun in the grandstand. It's completely covered. It's only in the bleachers where they have to sit in the sun.
Where do you usually sit?
I like to sit in the bleachers. You can see the game better. It's cheaper, and besides, most of the real baseball fans sit in the bleachers.
Then why are we sitting in the grandstand?
I've already explained to you. It's shady in the grandstand, and more comfortable for you. Ladies usually sit in the grandstand. Let's go down this aisle and sit behind the home plate. Then we can see the pitcher better and watch how he throws his curves.
What is home plate?
Let's get a seat first. I'll explain everything to you later.
There seem to be a lot of ladies present.
Today is Ladies' Day. Ladies get in free today.
So that's why you brought me. I thought you were being particularly generous.
You've always said you wanted to see a baseball game. I thought it was a good opportunity. Here are 2 seats. Heavens! They are already starting to play the 3rd inning, but the score is still 0-0.
Then we really haven't missed anything.
You don't understand. Sometimes a game can go right on up to the last inning, and the score will be 0-0. That simply means that neither team has scored a run.
There are 9 innings in a game, aren't there?
That's right, except that sometimes if the score is tied at the end of the 9th, they have to play extra innings until the tie is broken.
That's the pitcher out there in the center, isn't it? The fellow who is getting ready to throw the ball?
That's right, he's winding up.
And the player who will try to hit the ball is the batter. The player behind him is the catcher. Isn't that right? You see, I know much more about baseball than you imagined.
There goes the pitch now. The batter swung and missed. Each batter has 3 tries. That was his 2nd try, or strike. If he misses again, he will be out.
Those other players out in the field, who are they exactly?
They all belong to the opposing team. The man to the right of the pitcher, standing near first base, is called the first baseman. The man directly behind the pitcher is the 2nd baseman. The man over to the left is the 3rd baseman. The 3 men far out in the field are all fielders.
The pitcher is throwing the ball again. Oh, the batter hit the ball, but not very well. Is that a strike?
The batter hit a foul ball. Any ball that is hit but doesn't land within the limits of the playing field is a foul ball. Ordinarily, it counts as a strike, except if the batter has 2 strikes on him. Then it doesn't count, and the batter has another chance to hit the ball.
When does the team in the field get a chance to bat the ball?
As soon as 3 men are put out on the team which is at bat, the side is said to be retired. They then take the field, and the other team comes in to have its turn at bat. When the 2nd team has been retired, the inning is over. The game continues in this way for 9 innings, with the 2 teams alternating in the field and at bat. Whoever scores the most runs during the 9 innings wins the game.
The batter has hit the ball high in the air.
He has just hit a fly. When he hits the ball along the ground, it is called a grounder. That is the shortstop who is going back now to catch the fly. He has caught it, and the batter is out.
Who is the man standing behind the catcher, dressed in blue, and wearing a mask on his face, and a heavy pad over his chest?
That's the umpire. He makes the decisions as to whether the pitcher has thrown a ball or a strike. He also decides when the runners are safe or out at the bases.
He must be an important person. How does one get to be an umpire?
According to some of the fans, umpires are just old baseball players who have become nearsighted.
Lesson 11. Mr. Brown makes several telephone calls.
I'd like to speak to Mr. Frank Smith. Is he there?
I'm afraid you have the wrong number. What number were you calling?
I was calling Murray Hill 72992.
This is Murray Hill 72992, but there is no one by the name of Smith here. This is a private residence.
I must have made a mistake. I'm sorry to have bothered you.
That's quite all right.
This is information. May I help you?
I am trying to locate a Mr. Frank Smith, who has offices at 2 West 45th Street. The company has moved there only recently, and the number is not yet in the telephone book.
I'll look it up for you. I have an F. Smith and Company exporters at 2 West 45th Street. Would that be your party?
Yes, that's the name of the company. What is the number?
Will you write the number down, please? It is Murray Hill 72991.
Hello? F. Smith and Company, exporters.
May I speak to Mr. Smith?
Mr. Smith is not in right now. Who's calling, please?
This is Mr. Brown of Chicago calling. Can you tell me what time Mr. Smith will be back? We are clients of his. That is, he acts as agent for our company in the export of some of our products. I am in New York at present and thought I would like to say hello to him.
Of course, Mr. Brown. We know your company very well. Mr. Smith is out to lunch right now, but I expect him back very shortly.
At what time would you suggest that I call him again?
He generally gets back to the office about 2 o'clock. However, occasionally he has some business to attend to outside, and then doesn't get back until much later. Maybe it would be better, Mr. Brown, if I have him call you.
I'm calling from a pay station now, but I expect to be in my hotel room almost all afternoon. He can telephone me there.
What is the telephone number there?
I'm at the Hotel Claridge on 44th Street. I don't know the number offhand, but you can look it up easily. Tell Mr. Smith, if I happen to have stepped out for a moment, to leave a message and I'll call him right back.
Fine. I'll have Mr. Smith get in touch with you as soon as he comes back to the office. Goodbye, Mr. Brown.
Long distance. I want to call Chicago, Illinois. The number is Edgewater 73331.
Will you talk with anyone who answers?
I want to speak to Mrs. Fred Brown. An operator, will you notify me when the 3 minutes are up, please? I'd also like to know what the rate is on a call to Chicago at this hour.
I'll have to look it up for you. The rate to Chicago, station to station, after 6 o'clock at night is $2 plus tax. The person-to-person rate is $3.20 plus tax.
How much does the tax amount to?
The tax is 15%.
I don't suppose you have a special rate for just listening. I'm going to speak with my wife.
I'm afraid not. I'm putting your call through now, sir.
Shall I hold the line, or will you call me back?
Hold the line. Here is your party now. We are all ready with Chicago. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, dear. How are you? Is everything at home all right?
I'm sorry, but I don't hear anything you say. Can you talk a little louder? We have a very bad connection.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me any better now?
Yes, sir. May I help you?
Operator, I was cut off on my call to Chicago. We had a very bad connection and could scarcely hear each other. Then we were cut off altogether.
I'm very sorry. I'll try to connect you again. There seems to be some interruption in our connections with Chicago. I'll have to call you back as soon as there is another circuit open.
Will it take very long?
It's hard to say. I'll keep working on your call and ring you as soon as I have your party again. It should not be more than 10 or 15 minutes. I'll call you.
Thank you. I'll wait for your call.
Lesson 12. Mrs. Jones calls on a dressmaker.
Good afternoon. I have been recommended to you by a friend who tells me that you are an excellent dressmaker. My name is Mrs. Jones.
Thank you. Won't you come in, please?
I'll sit down if you don't mind. I had to walk some distance to find your place. Foolishly, I had jotted down your address incorrectly.
How unfortunate.
I have brought material for 2 dresses which I want you to make for me. I do hope you can do them right away. I also brought 1 or 2 things I want you to fix for me.
I'm afraid that I am too busy to make any dresses for you. It's close to the holidays, and it seems that every one of my customers needs a new dress at this particular season. I'll be glad to do any minor alterations for you.
Heavens, what shall I do? I haven't a decent thing to wear.
Perhaps you can buy something ready-made and let the dresses go until after the holidays. They have some very pretty dresses in the stores now.
Ready-made dresses are just a waste of money for me. By the time they finish altering them to suit me, they no longer have any style, and very often the whole dress is completely ruined. It seems that I am too broad in the hips and too narrow in other places for them to fit me correctly.
I suppose it really is difficult for a stout person.
I know that I should reduce, but it's so difficult. I've tried everything, but I seem to get fatter every day instead of thinner.
I presume you have experimented with diet?
I'm on a diet now, but I'm not promising anyone that I'm going to stay on it. The trouble is that every time a doctor gives me a diet, it is a diet of things I don't like to eat. Why can't they ever give me a diet of things I enjoy eating? Life is complicated. I sometimes feel like the famous writer who said that everything he seemed to enjoy was either illegal, immoral, or fattening.
What was the dress you wanted me to fix for you, Mrs. Jones? Would you care to slip it on?
This is a dress that's gotten too tight for me. Do you think you can let it out a little?
I believe so. I can open the seams.
It's also a little tight through the back and shoulders, but I don't suppose you can do anything about that.
I can change the neckline. I can cut it lower, and in that way give you a little more fullness in the blouse. Instead of buttons down the front, you would have a V neckline. I could even give you a round neckline, if you prefer.
Either one will be all right.
Before you take the dress off, Mrs. Jones, let me mark the hemline. It hangs a little low in the back. How long do you generally wear your skirts?
I like them about 12 or 13 inches from the floor. Incidentally, I also want you to move the buttons on this blouse which I have brought along. The blouse is also tight for me, but I believe that all it needs is to move the buttons over a half-inch or so.
It's a lovely blouse. Did you get it here in New York? The embroidery work on it is beautiful.
A friend of mine brought it to me from Italy last summer. It's all handmade. She also brought me another that has the new, full raglan sleeves that I like very much. I'm very fond of pretty blouses. Blouses are one of the few things that seem to look well on me. What a problem it is for fat people like me to dress well.
Lesson 13. Mrs. Riggs at the beauty parlor and Grace the beautician.
I'm sorry, Grace. I'm afraid I'm a little late for my appointment. It was all so nice of you to take me on such a short notice. As you know, I usually try to call you up at least a day or two ahead.
It's all right, Mrs. Riggs. We're not very busy today.
My husband and I are going out tonight, and I simply had to have my hair done. It looks a wreck.
Sit here, please.
I've been meaning for weeks to come in and get a new permanent. My last one has all grown out, but I've been just too busy to get around to it. Perhaps some day next week I'll telephone you and make an appointment.
Shall I touch up your hair today, or would you rather wait until you come in next week for a permanent?
Does it look very bad? Every day I seem to be getting more gray hairs.
They don't show up too much. I can use a dark rinse if you prefer. That takes just a few minutes.
I'd love to have my hair dyed. Do you think I ought to dye it, Grace?
What color would you dye it?
I'd like it blonde, but I don't know whether I have the courage to try it. How do you think I'd look?
Why don't you come in some day and let us test your hair to see how it would take? You leave 2 or 3 samples of your hair, and we dye them several shades of blonde. In that way you can see how it would turn out. Some hair doesn't stand bleaching very well. Other hair takes it beautifully. It all depends upon the texture of the hair.
Of course, I'd have to ask my husband first and get his permission. Some husbands, you know, like blonde hair, but only on another woman.
How do you want your hair set, Mrs. Riggs? The same as usual?
Just the same as you always. You might set the waves a little looser than usual. I want to look very nice tonight, since I'm coming in anyway for a permanent next week. It doesn't matter if they come out right away.
How do you like the new poodle cut some of the young girls are wearing this season?
You're not suggesting, Grace, that I try a poodle cut? A woman of my age? It's cute, though, on some of the younger kids. I'd really love to change the way I do my hair, but I can't seem to find another style that suits me. It seems that I have very little imagination when it comes to doing my hair.
I like the way you do your hair, Mrs. Riggs. It's original and always looks very nice.
Thank you, Grace. It's sweet of you to say so. By the way, how have you been lately? The last time I was in, you were saying something about getting married. What happened?
Nothing happened. My boyfriend and I had a quarrel and broke up. I'm still single and still hoping.
Don't worry. Someone will come along. What are you looking for in a husband? Money, intelligence, appearance?
Appearance, and the sooner the better. I'm getting tired of working.
You're funny, Grace. Ouch, you're pulling my hair, or else you have one of those curlers wrapped too tightly.
I'm sorry. I'll loosen it a little. Are you planning to get a manicure later, Mrs. Riggs? If so, I'd better speak to the manicurist so that she can take care of you while you're under the dryer.
I don't think I'll bother today, Grace. I don't have time. I did my nails myself a day or 2 ago, and they still look fairly good.
Lesson 14. Mrs. Holmes, accompanied by her husband, is buying a pair of shoes, and the salesman is kept very busy.
How many different pairs of shoes are you going to try on? You have the poor salesman worn out.
Well, I'm certainly not going to buy the first pair he puts on me. I want to find something I really like first.
I should think that you would have made up your mind about what kind of shoes you wanted before you came in here.
At first, I planned to buy a simple pair of street Oxfords. But when I saw those pretty suede pumps that other customer was buying, I thought I'd like to try them on.
But now you have the salesman showing you patent leather shoes.
Patent leather is all the style this year. Anyway, what about it? A woman has the privilege of changing her mind, hasn't she?
These are particularly good-looking shoes. They have a Cuban heel and come in black, brown, or navy blue. The different color stitching makes them very attractive.
What about that pair in the other box? I don't like Cuban heels. Since I'm not very tall, I generally prefer a higher heel.
These shoes are kid, not patent leather. They are a good quality kid, very soft and smooth. We haven't anything else in patent leather, in your particular size, except the ones I have already shown you.
These are rather pretty. What size are they? Suppose I try them on.
These are your size, 6A.
They seem a little tight through the instep. Are you sure they're 6A? They also seem a little short for me.
As I told you, madam, your foot measures 7A. You may be able to wear 6A in some shoes, but your correct size is 7A. You'd be a lot more comfortable wearing a size 7A.
My feet look too large in 7A. What else do you have?
How about something in an open-toe style? Open-toe shoes are very popular this season. I can give you a pump or even an Oxford with open toes.
I already have several pairs of open-toe shoes. I wanted to get something a little different. Have you anything with a high ankle strap?
Did you want a dress shoe or something for street wear?
Something I can wear on the street. But naturally, I don't want anything too exaggerated. Perhaps you have something with a very narrow strap that's not too extreme.
Would you care for anything with a platform sole? As you know, many of the ankle strap styles come with platform soles.
You have a pair in the window that are pretty. They have just a narrow platform sole. You probably know the ones I mean. The sole is of dark red lizard, and the upper part of the shoe is black suede. Do you think I can wear an ankle strap shoe all right? I don't want to look ridiculous. Don't they look better on tall women?
I think that it's more important that the woman have well-shaped ankles than that she be tall or short. Your ankles are slender. I don't see why they shouldn't look well on you.
Do you mind if I try them on?
Not at all. I'll get them out of the window for you.
Why do you have to spend so much time talking with the salesman? What do you care what he thinks about one style or the other? All he is interested in is selling you a pair of shoes.
I want to get his opinion about such things. If I talk with someone, it always helps me to decide what I want.
But can't you just think about what you want without saying anything?
How in the world am I going to know what I think until I hear what I say? Lesson 15. Mr. White makes some purchases at the drugstore.
Good evening, Mr. White. What can I do for you tonight?
I have a long list of things which my wife gave me. Iodine, aspirin, a roll of adhesive tape.
A small bottle of iodine, I suppose. What size box of aspirin? We have boxes of 10, 25, and 100 tablets.
Give me the largest size. I also want a tube of toothpaste, Colgate, and a toothbrush. Let me see the toothbrushes, please.
We have a special on toothbrushes today. Regular, 60 cents. 2 for 69.
What's wrong with them that they are selling so cheap?
It's an introductory offer, a new product that has just come on the market. They seem to be very good toothbrushes. They come in several colors and sizes. There is also hard, soft, and medium. The bristles are made of nylon and guaranteed not to fall out.
But I really need only one toothbrush. Besides, whenever I buy a new toothbrush, I always give the old one to my wife. She uses them to clean her suede shoes. I also want some shaving cream, a tube of palm-olive brushless.
We also have a special on shaving cream today. With each tube of this new cream, you get a free package of razor blades.
What kind of blades?
They are a new brand. They are made of some special kind of steel and are supposed to be pretty good.
I've had bad luck using unknown brands of razor blades. I prefer to stick to the kind I generally use, Gillette blades. At least I've had some experience cutting myself with Gillette blades.
Was there anything else?
My wife wants 2 boxes of cleansing tissue. She also wants you to fill this prescription for her. It's something the doctor gave her to help her to reduce. I guess that's about all.
Do you need any vitamin pills? After-shaving lotion? Cold tablets? We have some excellent vitamin preparations.
Nothing else, thanks. About how long will it take to fill that prescription?
I can have it for you in about 10 minutes. Do you want to wait, or will you drop back later?
I'll wait for it. I can have a Coca-Cola at the soda fountain or look around the store in the meantime.
Take a look at our new rental library. Perhaps you'll find a book or two you may want to take home and read.
If you fellows keep on adding merchandise here, you'll turn out to be a regular department store. You already sell everything from beach umbrellas to electric toasters. What are you going to put in next?
Your guess is just as good as mine.
Incidentally, have those films I left here last week to be developed come back yet? They are some photographs I took of the family at the beach a few weeks ago, and I am eager to see how they came out.
No, they haven't come back yet. As I told you, color film has to be sent back to the factory to be developed. It usually takes 2 or 3 weeks. With black and white prints, it is different. They take only 24 hours to develop because the work is done locally.
Then I guess I'll just have to wait for them.
I'll let you know as soon as they come in. If you don't happen to come into the store about that time, I'll drop you a postcard.
Lesson 16. Mrs. Clark drops in at the bookstore, and the clerk is very helpful.
Good afternoon. May I help you?
Thank you. I was just looking over your collection of books to see whether there was something that interested me.
We have all the latest novels. We get new ones almost every week.
These are all books which you lend out, aren't they?
Yes, these are all part of our lending library collection. The section you are looking at contains the fiction. The section to your left has non-fiction, and a little farther on are the detective stories.
What must one do in order to borrow a book?
You must first become a member. That simply means that you leave $1 deposit and give us your name and address. You then pay 15 cents for each book which you withdraw. You are allowed to keep the book for 3 days. If you keep the book longer than 3 days, you pay 10 cents for each additional day.
What happens if after a few weeks I don't wish to continue as a member, or I don't want to borrow any more books?
You notify us that you are discontinuing your membership, and we return your $1 to you. The $1 which you leave is simply a deposit. It is not a membership fee.
It sounds quite reasonable. I think I'd like to become a member.
Very good. I'll make out a card for you. Will you come to my desk, please? Have you decided upon some book which you'd like to take with you?
I'm going to take 2 books, a detective story for my husband to read, and this latest novel by Hemingway for myself. Everyone seems to be reading this Hemingway book, so I suppose I'd better read it too. At my bridge club, if one doesn't keep up with all the latest novels, one is left out of the conversation entirely.
I'm sure you'll like the book. Most people tell me that they have enjoyed it very much, although some readers have said that they thought it was very much overrated. The book has been on the bestseller list for more than 2 months now.
If it is so popular, how does it happen that you have 2 copies of it on your shelf? I should think that there would be such a demand for it that it would be constantly in circulation.
There is a very great demand for it, but as in the case of all very popular books, we have at least 7 or 8 copies circulating constantly. Otherwise, there would rarely be a copy available for anyone. However, if there is ever a particular book you want to read and someone already has it out, you simply put in a reserve for it, and as soon as it comes in again, we hold it for you.
I see that you also sell new books. Occasionally, I want to give a book as a gift to some friend.
We carry all the new books for sale. The lending library is just a small part of our business. We have a complete stock of modern library books, pocket books, all the current magazines. We sell greeting cards for all occasions. We generally get every new book as soon as it is published. Here are some books which just arrived this morning. This one may interest you. How to Torture Your Husband.
No, thanks. I have my own system. But, by the way, have you a book on big game hunting just published recently, written by a man named Hunter? I read about it in the book review section of last Sunday's Times. It's for my husband, not for me. He's interested in crazy things like that.
We don't have that particular book, but it may be coming in. If you have just read the review, it's no doubt a new book. I can let you know if it comes in, or I can order it special for you.
Don't bother. I can probably find it on your shelves later.
Shall I wrap these books for you, madam? Or do you want to carry them under your arm? There was nothing else today, was there? Greeting cards, stationery, gift articles?
That will be all. I have to pay you the $1 deposit on the lending library membership. You also want to take down my name and address.
Lesson 17. Mr. Carter buys a suit.
I'd like to see your men's suits.
Right this way, please. What size do you wear?
Size 37.
Have you any particular style or color in mind?
I thought I'd like to try something in a gray flannel.
Will you try this on for size, please? You're pretty tall. It may be that you need a long. This is a 37 regular. The sleeves are a little short, but we can lengthen them easily. How does that feel on you?
Have you something a little darker in color? This seems too light for winter wear.
Certainly. I can show you something darker. Here is a darker gray. This is a beautiful piece of material, imported from England. Would you like to try it on?
The material is nice, but the coat seems a little too narrow in the shoulders. I don't think it fits me quite as well as the last one I had on.
Try this next one. This suit has a different cut and may fit you better. I see that you prefer a coat that hangs full and has box lines, rather than something which is more fitted.
This color still seems a little light to me. Haven't you anything darker? My wife gave me strict instructions to get a dark gray.
That's about as dark as we have. I hardly think you'd want anything darker than that, unless you want black. Black is an old man's color.
It just happens that I already have a light gray flannel suit at home now. It hangs in the closet, and I never wear it. It's so light that I feel conspicuous in it, and my wife warned me when I bought it.
But isn't it better to please yourself as regards the color? You're the one who is going to have to wear the suit, not your wife.
At least at our house I wear the coat and vest.
I'm sure your wife isn't that strict with you.
We get along quite well. We have an understanding. I decide all the big, important things, and she decides all the little things.
How have you been doing?
So far, no big things have come up.
How about something in a double-breasted model? Does your wife like double-breasted suits? Double-breasted suits should look well on you.
I already have 2 double-breasted suits, but I prefer single-breasted. Perhaps you have something in a dark color in some other material except flannel?
Would you like something in tweed? How about a hard finish material? Hard finish materials hold their crease and also wear longer. Here is something in a herringbone design. How about a pinstripe? Incidentally, I have some dark gray flannels with a narrow pinstripe, which we just got in.
I really prefer flannel, if you think you have something I might like.
Then suppose we take a look at them. That narrow stripe adds a nice touch of smartness. It needs a few minor alterations, but the tailor will take care of that. Just a minute. I'll ring for the tailor.
Do you like the coat loose, or do you prefer it to fit snugly?
I believe the coat is all right as it is. The sleeves are just a little too long.
This one shoulder needs to be raised a little. It breaks badly in the back. Do you like your cuffs to show a little below the sleeves?
I'm not particular. Just don't make the sleeves too long. When the sleeves on a coat are too long, I have the feeling that the whole coat is too big.
How about the trousers? Do they feel comfortable, or should I take them in a little?
They seem to be all right. I wear suspenders, so that I like my trousers a little loose. I also prefer them short, so that they hang straight and don't break above the cuff.